I'm approaching 30, and I thought by now I'd have everything in my life sorted out. And it turns out I really don't. And all the people I know who look like they do, they don't either. And it turns out everyone's just a little bit lost. They just don't show it. And, if being lost is normal, then none of us are really behind, right? Throughout our lives, we're kind of expected to know what we want for our future. School pushed the idea that you pick a career and you stick in it until you die. But that's clearly not true, especially if you speak to anyone over the age of 25. By a certain age, we're all kind of expected to have our dream job, a partner, and our dream living situation sorted. But when you actually look at the real people around you, it doesn't seem like many people at any age have any of that sorted. A younger George would have thought I'd have it all sorted by now, but, he'd be greatly mistaken. And I just want to give massive respect to anyone out there who has managed to figure everything out in their lives, no matter their age. It ain't easy, I know that for sure, and it's just commendable, really. I just don't think I've met any of you guys yet, Don't get me wrong. I know people who have had great success in their lives, and watching things fall into place for them is just genuinely incredible to watch. And it's weird as well because it's so easy to get jealous about this stuff. But in all honesty, you just kind of have to respect it and be proud of them. They're your friends at the end of the day. But yeah, again, I'm certain I don't know anyone who has had everything figured out from the beginning. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as you could probably tell, but I believe things would have fallen into place for me by now when I was younger. I think part of it is procrastination. Some of it is just me being unsure on who I am and what I like, because I'm not a fan of making hard decisions, which is something I'm working on, by the way. I'm still unsure about my career, and I'm not certain what changes I'd like to make. I've just made peace with what I'm currently doing and trying to build up some skills for when I do decide to move, Because I'm not staying a chef past 30, fuck that. I think I'd rather die. I think I would die, I still have no idea where I'd want to live in the future either. I've moved for jobs a little, and I definitely would do it again, but I'm unsure where and when I'd like to settle down for certain. And my relationship status is getting closer to lonely old man every day, And I'm hoping I'll be able to change that eventually, but the point is I'm completely uncertain on where I am or where I'm going. And part of that is kind of freeing, There's a little less stress and pressure when everything is unplanned and you're just coasting a little bit. And I also think everyone's coasting somewhat, Talking to people, whether it's co-workers, friends, family, I've very quickly realized I'm not alone. It's completely normal to leave school, get caught in the first job you get, and try to figure things out later. Sometimes later is 2 years, sometimes it's 5. For me, it's closer to 10 or 15, but ooh. One of my best friends hated every job he's ever had. And he's been jumping around between shit jobs for a decade now. And suddenly he's training to become an electrician, and you can see that it's what he wants, and he's actually a little excited about it. And he's 31. Some would consider that a late change, but not really in the grand scheme of things. The man's still got 30 to 40 years of working left in him. I'll ask your parents or your grandparents when they figured it all out. And I can imagine 9 times out of 10, they'll probably just say that they're still trying or they've given up completely. I think more people just commit to a path that's not perfect earlier on in life than we think. And they just wait to adjust it all later. And sometimes later never even comes. Everyone is just getting more than they'd like to admit. And sometimes going with your norm, as long as you're happy with it, is the best and the easiest choice, because life changes too much and too often to really ever have it figured out. And with the advent of social media and people's lives being constantly uploaded to compare and contrast with, it's so much easier to feel like you've fallen behind, that everyone's one step ahead or has it all figured out. But that's just not the case, really, you know? I have videos about how social media is affecting us on my channel if you want to check out more on that. But it all ties back to comparing yourself to others, which isn't really a very healthy thing to do if you think about it. As long as you're happy with where you're at, that's all that matters. I promise. And who says life is something we have to figure out anyway? If everything can change on a whim and in an instant at any moment, why do we even strive for that? We're all in progress in one way or another. None of us are finished or complete products, you know, so there'll always be something else to improve upon or work on. We're all constantly adjusting ourselves to see what works best for us and our lives, so maybe figuring it all out just isn't even possible. It certainly doesn't feel possible for me sometimes. You know, I personally think I'm doing all right. No matter where you are in life, whatever job you have, whatever living situation you're in, you should be proud you've made it that far, man. We aren't just defeated just because not everything has gone how we planned. We just have to accept it, be proud of where we're at, and, you know, if you want more, good. Right, let's go fucking get you some more, you know, let's figure out some changes. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if everything is all sorted out in our lives. Life just keeps coming anyway, and it doesn't stop if you haven't gotten your affairs in order. We still have to work, eat, sleep, and shit a load. And I don't know why as kids we were pushed all this bollocks about planning our lives, when most of us just wing it anyway. That's like completely normal to do. It's really easy to feel lost. But remember that we're all kind of lost together. And if you've watched this far, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed. Love you lots. Bye-bye.